There's really no reason to use Golduck competitively, really ever. But today, I'm gonna do it anyways. It's at the absolute bottom of the barrel, and in terms of stats, it's got 95 special attack, and that's literally it. What it does have though is Swift Swim, so there's gotta be a way to make it do something. In the rain, it's actually fast, so we can set up a nasty plot to double our special attack, and then Swift Swim our way to bopping some people with stab rain boosted Hydro Pumps. If there's a reason to use Golduck over like any other Swift Swim mon, it's pretty much just Psyshock or Psychic, which isn't even stab, but hey, it's something. We slap on Ice Beam for coverage, and let's see if we can get some use out of the duck that's not even gold. So Golduck is like the epitome of a mediocre mon, and maybe that's why I like it, but it's like, first, it doesn't have any good stats, and second of all, if you wanted to use a Swift Swim mon, you're better off using pretty much anything else that gets access to Swift Swim, but you know, that's what we're all about over here. Today we're showing some love to the duck, and if you're into that kind of thing, you should hit that subscribe button. I'm on my way to 400k, that's my goal for the year, and you can help me out. Now with that, let's go ahead and jump into the match. Alright, so my opponent is going to go ahead and lead off with a Volbeat, which is interesting. Also, I accidentally paused it here and I thought it was funny. Go ahead and caption that. And I have got myself a good old-fashioned futuristic Donphan. Now, I'm just here to set up Stealth Rock. I also imagine Volbeat does one thing pretty much. Well, I guess it does a couple things. First, mostly it goes for Tail Glows and then it potentially Encores with Prankster and stuff, but it does go for the turn 1 Tail Glow. I get up my Stealth Rock and I'm not really worried about what this thing wants to do to me. I'm also Focus Sash, so I mean, if it pulls out anything crazy, that's fine. Now, I decided to just go for the Ice Spinner. It's the best damage I can get on it. I would like a little bit of chip. I figure it's probably got a Focus Sash of its own, so I'm going to go ahead and try to break that. But instead, it actually goes for the Protect. Wants to just scout out what I'm doing, I suppose. And he's just dancing over there like a little bumblebee guy having a fun time. Now, they realize they're probably safe, as an Ice Spinner does not OHKO. So they go for another Tail Glow here, and I'm just going to go spinning. You hit him with some ice. Does do around half. And it's getting a little bit scary just because of those Tail Glows, but again, I'm Focus Sash, so I mean, I can live anything, and they actually go for another Protect. Buddy is just out here using protection, keeping it safe, and I Earthquake this time. I honestly feel like it's probably going to Baton Pass, because it's surely not going to stay in here on the Steel type, so that's exactly what it does. It does go for the Baton Pass. Luckily for me, this time I actually go Ice Spinner, but that's just because they actually end up swapping into the Superiors. That works out. They probably expect the Earthquake. I Ice Spinner instead, and that's pretty damn good because now Superior, while it doesn't quite kill it, gets in range to easily be taken out later. And again, I have a Focus Sash on this thing, which is actually funny because I like just switched the item on this bad boy. It's not usually Focus Sash, but this is great for me. I know that I could live a Leaf Storm here. This thing has all the special attack in the damn world. And they're actually going to end up going for the Terra here, which feels even better. I like to see the Terras get out of the way early. It turns out to be Terra Fire, which means they probably just want to go for that Terra Blast. But realistically, it has so much special attack from the Tail Glows. This thing is going to hit hard with anything. Now, I actually outspeed because it means that this thing must just be modest. I am max speed, but it has got to be just plus special attack nature. The Ice Spinner, it's allowed to live because of the fact they went for that Terra. And as they go for the Terra Blast, they see the Focus Sash, which is sick as hell. And look at that, Sash, Donphan, future fan is out here living. So it is actually also going to be leftovers. If it's modest, it probably tells me it's not going to be much of a sweeper one. And especially with leftovers, they potentially could be a sub-seed set, at least what I'm thinking. They actually end up going for another Protect. Buddy has got protection all over the damn place, which doesn't really do anything other than give him another turn of leftovers, which is fine. But I just go for that super effective Earthquake, and they just are like, yeah, not today, buddy, and they can get a little free turn of leftovers, which again, I don't really care about. Now, of course, Volbeat is still fine in the back, so they don't really lose much from swapping out here if they want to try to set back up that thing later. So they are going to end up switching, and on the incoming Earthquake, they decide to go to Hitmontop, which is fine. Now, I am at 1 HP, and Earthquake shouldn't be able to knock this thing out in one hit, especially if it's Intimidate. Turns out it's not. It's just going to be Technician. So as the Earthquake comes through, it almost knocks it out. I literally lives on 1 HP, which is annoying, and that allows it to go for some priority with a Bullet Punch, and that is going to take care of the Treads. So, you know, we did some solid work with that. We do still have the Stealth Rock up. If this thing wants to Rapid Spin, it's going to have to outspeed something. So I decided it's time to get some rain up, baby. I'm going to bring in old Toilet Bird, and we're going to flap some rain indoors. Nothing like just flooding the place with some Pelipper rain. I can now outspeed. I decided to go for the U-turn just in case they want to swap, but they do actually just stay in. And that's going to take care of Hitmontop essentially for free, which is great, because now that gets rid of the Rapid Spinner. And as I kill it with a U-turn, bad thing is I have to decide what I want to switch into first, and then they can decide to match up accordingly. So rather than going Golduck early, who they have answers to, I decide I'm just gonna go Swanna and see what they want to do versus the Swanna. Now this thing is rest hydration set. It doesn't have a way to set up, but it's pretty much here to just do some damage to things. So it's kind of fun. Now they decide to go Archaladon, and I'm really thinking they go for the Electro Shot here. And I'm also thinking, hey, it'd be pretty lit if I get that prediction correct, can go for a Ground Terra, and then I should have a 2-hit KO, depending on how this thing's built, with a Rain Boosted Surf. If it's Assault Vest, obviously not, but I put the Earth on my head, looking re-damn ridiculous, and I do get that Surf off, and it's going to do a big old chunk. So easy 2-hit KO there. Hoping for the Electro Shot here, of course, does give it stamina, which doesn't make a difference. And after some Life Orb chip, they actually end up going for a Dragon Tail, which is absolutely busting my Swanna balls. Now that gets me out of here, brings in a random teammate, which is kind of fine. Maybe they expected some type of setup there, but I go for the Ground Terror for no reason, and that actually ends up drawing in the Golduck. So we got our arms out looking intimidating, and we're swift swimming. So I feel like this is a situation where there's a couple different things that can happen. First of all, they could go for the Electro Shot now. They could also Dragon Tail me out, but I decide I'm just going to go for a Nasty Plot. We're going full nasty on them just to see what can happen here, and they're actually going to pull out the Body Press. So as I get that Nasty Plot off, basically for free, the Body Press does do a nice little chunk, but at this point, with the Nasty Plot up, we got doubled special attack, doubled speed, and guess what? We're out here swimming. I can then actually just go for an Ice Beam here, judging off of how much that Surf did earlier. A Nasty Plotted Ice Beam should be able to take care of it. Neutral hit, that is going to knock him right on his little Stapler Remover ass. So Golduck is actually in full form. We take some Life Orb chip, we're at about half, but we're faster than literally everything, and after a plot, honestly Golduck looks pretty scary. So they decide to bring in their best resist to this, and that's going to be the Slowbro. Obviously, I'm going to pull out the Hydro Pump because look at this. After a Nasty Plot and in the rain, that is a 1-hit KO. Young Paul over there did not expect the pump to knock him out, and that's actually extremely satisfying because that's also going to open up the game a bit more for me in that Golduck is still faster than everything as long as this rain is up. I guess not faster than this little asshole who is of course Prankster, but it can't get off an attacking move anyway, so I just decided to go for a Psyshock here. What they can do, and what their plan is to go for a Protect. Now, it doesn't do anything really, it just kind of prolongs this thing's death, but it also is going to get rid of my rain turns. Now, we are on a limited amount of rain, so that's fine, but I'm going to go for a Psyshock now. We're able to outspeed. Just click Psyshock so we don't miss, and that's going to be a dead Volbeat. So it gets a Protect off, which just burns a turn of rain, but listen, we're still moist as hell out here, and Golduck's got a little bit of speed left in him, baby. After some Life Orb chip, they can now switch into whatever they like. Now, they go into Superior, and I know what they're doing here. There's only one turn of rain left, and we also saw that this asshole has Protect. So you called it, they're going to go for that Protect, and I am not going to be able to get the satisfying outspeed and kill here with the Psyshock. But as I'm looking at it, here's the thing. I will not be letting the Golduck go down that easy. We are still outsped without the rain by a modest Superior. So I'm thinking, here's the plan. It's over there eating leftovers, but moral of the story, I can actually swap back into Pelipper, just reset that rain, and then as soon as I bring Golduck back in, we're in a position to hopefully be able to clean up the game with the Golduck. And we also, looks like we have 2 more hits of the Life Orb left in us. Luckily, because they don't have Stealth Rock up, I can bring that thing back in without dying. So I go Pelipper here. They're actually going to click the Leaf Storm, and it misses. I always forget that Leaf Storm can even miss, but if it's not 100% accurate, baby, that shit, it's 50. So Pelipper lives to see another day. I basically swapped this thing in to die, but I'm like, hey, that's fine. I can now just go for a U-turn, and they are actually going to end up going for the Leech Seed. That tells me it is going to be more of a bulky Superior, at least like some type of Leech Seed variant. And as I click U-turn, it's not going to grab the kill, obviously, but that's fine, because now, guess who comes back in? The Golduck is ready to take some more lives with our crazy webbed fingers swimming fast as hell. Why is Golduck blue? They really... Like, why the hell is this thing name even Golduck? He's not gold at all. It'd be actually sick if it's shiny was gold or something, but instead he's just a little more red on his bill and fingers. I don't know. Golduck is one of the weirdest things ever, but I can just go for a Surf here. They actually are going to Protect, because they're like, you know what, I'm actually not ready for Superior to die just yet, good sir. I'm just going to hang on to that, grab myself another turn of leftovers. I don't have my Nasty Plots set up anymore, but here's the thing. Golduck does not need them at this point, especially since Superior is freaking Fire type in the rain, but he's getting washed the hell away over here. I actually click Psyshock anyway. Now, their final mon is actually going to be a Gardevoir, and that's gonna put it in an interesting spot, because here's the thing. So Psyshock kills the Superior. Now final Mon is gonna be Gardevoir. Now the rain is still up, so I've got my Swift Swim active. But one thing about Guard is it has the Trace ability. So as I take my last turn of Life Orb, essentially, they can go into Gardevoir, and if it's Trace, it's gonna get Swift Swim as well. So while that feels bad, I also then remember that, listen, Golduck is base 85 speed and Gardevoir is base 80. So even though it has Swift Swim also, I actually outspeed and I connect on a Hydro Pump, and that is enough to kill a Gardevoir in the rain. And that is extremely satisfying. Golduck putting in the absolute finest of work, and this thing's actually pretty lit. So that's gonna do it for the game, and good times. Now, you already know how we do it over here. We have the second match for you, and if you've stuck around this far, you should probably know the drill by now. You should hit that like button because it helps out. And if you thought the Golduck shenanigans were over, you are sorely mistaken. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So this time my opponent is going to lead off with the Glimmora, and I'll tell you one thing, I'm sick of seeing Glimmora leads. I don't know what it is about this damn thing, but it's annoying. Now, I actually have an interesting matchup with the Iron Treads, because as I can set up my Stealth Rock, we actually have a wild matchup against each other. First of all, this thing can hit me with like Earth Power coverage, I can hit it with ground coverage as well. We both set up our Stealth Rock, and now it's kind of up to whatever we want to do here. So I imagine, first of all, they're probably going to Earth Power. I'm not worried about that because I'm Focus Sash. I also think that they're probably Focus Sash, but I'm going to throw the EQ at them anyway. And I'm also really not worried about the pinata candy popping out of this thing in the form of Toxic Spikes, because I can Rapid Spin them. So as it does live with its Focus Sash, gets up a little Toxic Debris, and at this point now they actually go for the Power Gem. That leads me to believe they tried to go for the early prediction, thinking I would go for the Terra Flying, but I don't, and that works out nicely because now I can outspeed. And as I go for the Rapid Spin, here's the thing. It gets rid of the Stealth Rock, it gets rid of the Toxic Spikes layer that was already there. It then pops a new Toxic Debris on the field, but an interesting interaction with that is if you kill it with a Rapid Spin, it actually is going to get rid of those T-Spikes as well. So now there's just straight up nothing on the field, and that's pretty solid. I get my Focus Sash broken, but the over-prediction they pay for, and we are not going Flying type. So the Robo Tusk comes out on top. And now they are able to switch into Blaziken. So listen, Blaziken is scary. This speed boost bastard is always going to set up Swords Dances and just be an absolute problem. So I decide I'm going to switch into the Toilet. Pelipper is kind of my best option here. I can get up the rain at least, which should be helpful. And I could be able to take any attack this thing wants to throw at me. So they go for the Blaze Kick. I avoid it, which is sweet. This Pelipper is out here dodging shit today somehow. You'd think his big ass bill would be a nice easy target, but I imagine they probably don't want to stay in here, so I'm going to go for a U-turn of my own, while they actually U-turn too. So the slower of the U-turn is able to come out on top, because now they're forced to bring in whatever. I can then decide a matchup and be like, I am out of here. So as they bring in Dragonite, this thing it's a bit questionable. First, it's not going to be heavy-duty boots, so it gets its Marvel Scale broken immediately, which is always nice. It makes it a whole lot easier to deal with, and I have a couple different options for this. I always try to get the Swanna in first, just to kind of scout. So, I mean, with an Extreme Speed option or a potential Dragon Dance, Golduck is not really going to be able to set up in the face of this thing, but one thing Swanna can do is surely be able to take one attack from it and then threaten it with an Ice Beam. So I'm thinking they maybe switch out here, so I go for the Hurricane. Turns out they're going to stay in, and the Hurricane is not quite going to be enough to kill it, but it does actually get the Confusion, which is sweet. We spawn the Ducks over his head, which is lit as hell, and now we have the chance for this thing to hit itself in the face. And I'm like, just go ahead and do that for me, buddy. That'd be real nice. It does not. Instead, it punches me in the face with a Thunder Hand. And a Thunder Punch hurts. That's my 4 times weak ass is definitely going to die. And down goes Swanna. So the thing is, it's at least confused. So I have a potential here, and I'm going to try it. Sometimes using Golduck, you got to gamble a little bit. I'm going to bring in the Duck here. Now, we know that they have the Thunder Punch. I'm thinking I can get up a free Nasty Plot if they hit themselves in Confusion. Sadly for me, it snaps out of Confusion, and they actually go for the Extreme Speed. They probably figure I'd just pick them off here with my ability to outspeed it with Swift Swim, but instead, it actually works out nicely for me because I go for the Nasty Plot instead, and judging by how much that Extreme Speed did, I can easily take another one and still have some hits in the chamber with the Life Orb still. So before they go down, I imagine they probably just finish me off with another, or at least get some more damage with another Extreme Speed. Does do some chip. And then I can go ahead and pick it off with the Ice Beam, which is always great. So Dragonite out of the way is great. That's probably their best form of priority, or at least only form of priority with that Extreme Speed. So now we're in a spot where we're chilling. We're fast as hell in this rain. Golduck loves it when it's moist, and As they go into Venusaur here, this thing, I mean, they see the Ice Beam, but also I have the Psy-Shock coverage. I'm going to pull out the Psy-Shock, and they're actually going to end up pulling out a Terra here. So, you know, that's one thing that stops Golduck sweeps is definitely some Terras. Turns out for me, they go for the Stellar Terra, which is not something you see often. Puts the Terapagos on his little plant, and that's actually fine, because as I go for the Psy-Shock, it actually is not going to remove its defensive typing. So the Psy-Shock just straight up kills it. After a nasty plot, we're just out here doing more than you'd expect from a Golduck. And that's pretty sweet, because not only do we take care of Venusaur, we get rid of their Terra as well. And we're out here just flexing on them with the Golduck. So that's always fun. Now, in comes Blaziken. Now, Blaziken is an interesting one here. They're going to need 2 speed boosts to be able to outspeed us. And I expected a Protect here. They actually don't. I go for that Psy-Shock and it just straight up blasts the guy. So down goes the Blaziken there, and that's kind of fun. The reason why this is happening is basically, with what they have left, they don't have anything that can outspeed or really take an attack from the Golduck. They have Swampert and they have a Dragapult, who we do outspeed with Swift Swim. So my last Life Orb knocked me down to 2 HP, which is sick, because as they bring in Swampert, I can connect on a Hydro Pump amazingly. And I am able to grab another nice little kill there. So that's it. I am going to go down with my own Life Orb, but honestly, the value out of Golduck is pretty damn appreciated. And they probably are just banking on their win conditioning at this point being their Dragapult, which is in fact scary. But I have one thing that is probably the dumbest shit ever. Listen, I have a Slacking here, and you may have noticed this is a Choice Specs Slacking. I'm trying to use special attacking Slacking for some damn reason, and as they go Dragapult here, I have the coverage with the Shadow Ball. I figure I can live any attack that this thing can go for. As they pull out the Dragon Darts, hits me right in my belly, but it doesn't even hurt. And then I can just throw a Shadow Ball at him, and then, look, icing on the cake is special attacking Slacking being able to finish the game for us. So that takes care of the Dragapult, and that's going to be the end of the game. So that one was just ridiculous. Golduck is kind of fun. Make sure to leave a like on the video on your way out, or just go look at other videos I've got. I'll be uploading a ton out here, and there's probably something you haven't seen. So, see ya.